Hi.
Good timing. Hi, Perry.
Hi, Scott, and hi, everyone. Welcome to Awaken Hidden Truth.
We're awakening all the time, aren't we? Before we click the record button, Perry's in a deep contemplation, meaning working with her ability to see into the multiverse and see other places and try to get answers for herself. Like, what really happened at Roswell, New Mexico? You won't find it on the internet. Something
Correct.
happened there, but it isn't what you're told. There were two sites. One where they found metal and bits of junk where it first hit, and then it bounced miles away, and there was a second, almost intact, half destroyed craft that hit the ground. It was kept away from the press and the public. Bodies were found. The US government, Russian, Chinese, nobody on Earth shot that down with radar, any nonsense like that. Lightning didn't down it. Give me a break. Come all the way across the universe from thousands, tens of thousands of light years away, and lightning on Earth's going to break them? No, it was shot down. But get this, not by anybody on Earth. If you want to know the answer to Roswell, don't look on Earth to find the answers. It's not there. So, what would compel benevolent, very evolved beings to shoot down a craft of little gray guys? What were they about to do that was so bad that if they didn't take that desperate act, maybe Earth would have been destroyed? That's what people should be looking at. And they're always being misdirected to look in all the wrong places to keep them away from the truth. Disclosure is not something that will be controlled by the people of Earth, classified or otherwise. It was a decision made amongst hundreds of millions of spacefaring races, trillions of beings, to fix this place and quarantine our solar system because people on Earth as they are destructive and dangerous and cannot be allowed to play among the stars with advanced technology the way we are. Therefore, what is underway now out in space that people don't yet know about is to change this place in unexpected new ways. Not the end of the world, not Armageddon or any of that stuff. The Mayans are a simple people. They know how to read their own calendar, which goes back 35,000 or more years. When one ended on December 21st, 2012, and I don't debate this with anybody because I don't care what people think the date was or not, it doesn't matter. A new calendar began. The Mayans themselves didn't know how to read it, knew that it meant the end of evil as an experiment on Earth. It's right in the beginning of the Sayre's Agenda book. They're simple people. They don't know who or what's involved in making this change. But that's what they knew the end of their calendar meant. People in religions on Earth perverted what they told them and tried to fit it into their books and their religion. It does not fit at all, period. So people weren't being told the truth by archaeologists who were very religious or some other thing motivated them to alter what they heard from these simple people who they thought were ignorant. This is what happens on Earth. So, what really happened at Roswell may not be important today to anyone. What's more important is what's happening now that never occurred before in the history of creation out among the stars. And Earth is right in the middle of that flow of energy, that change. If we weren't, we'd all be dead. Armageddon would have happened. The planet's poles would have flipped and you'd all be dead, pushing up daisies, trying to find a new body. And that's everybody on Earth would already be gone. Because the people in control of nuclear weapons here, though they didn't tell the people, actually tried to start a nuclear war many times and they were shut down. They launched computers from space, not by us. Not by anybody coming in and taking over cities and cockroach people in ships blowing up cities and killing everybody. That's Hollywood. That hasn't happened. It's 2021. You don't even need a nuclear war to ruin life on this planet. People are doing that by their unconscious behavior. the way they treat animals, the way they slaughter them, the way they deplete food sources in the ocean, what they think is food sources, the pollution of the air and water and atmosphere. Somehow they think in their delusional state, their unconscious state, that life will just somehow miraculously carry on the way they're running this world. It won't. It will come to a most spectacular end without nuclear war at all, the way things are going. We are going to need the help of advanced human and other beings from other races who are kind to intervene when asked to help change this place, or we won't make it here. It won't be the first time life has been destroyed on this planet in its real ancient history. That's a history people don't know. The classified military industrial complex on this planet knows just a small fraction of it, but they know a lot more than you do. They know that the poles flip cyclically and destroys all life. They classified that when they found it out. That was permanently stopped a few years ago, but not by anybody on Earth. Fortunately for us, we'd be gone right now. There are beings incarnated here from a world that was blown apart a long time ago in our solar system that now circles in the orbit of a planet between Mars and Jupiter. The scientists go, I think it's just failed planets. Maybe it's a bunch of meteors that just kind of collected together in the orbit of a planet and they just start circling the sun, I guess. I don't know. He was calling. You know what I mean? They don't know. So they make stuff up, theory. They don't know. They can't teach people in universes what they don't know. They can just teach belief to them, what they've been taught. None of it's true. So people on Earth aren't taught what matters to why they're alive here. What exists out beyond this world is where God is, okay? And the beings that live on those trillions of worlds and trillions of galaxies and multi-dimensions is the truth of the omnipresent thing they worship. They put that source on such a pedestal, praying to it, they can never reach it. It's always receding on a pedestal away from them as they move toward it. Because they've been taught incorrectly here to not know and to believe. Don't know anything, just believe. There's nothing wrong with belief or faith, but it should lead to experience of what it is they're worshiping, not just believe till they die. That's not right. That isn't the way other people in other worlds work. And this planet, whether it likes it or not, is in for some big changes regarding life in the multiverse, coming from the source behind all life. And it's way bigger than Earth ever was. Look, life in this form has been capable of living on this planet for 65 million years, since the dinosaurs were made extinct, deliberately. Where is that missing history for people here? How did Thai people, Asian people, Japanese, Chinese, African American, Caucasian, Semitic, tribal, indigenous things, Aboriginal, how'd they get here? People just think somehow they all evolved all those differences on one atmosphere, on one land, and one planet. That's silly. They make this up because they have no answers here. The reason there's so many races on this planet is because in histories they don't know, they were brought here from other worlds where whole world systems are predominantly Asian looking or Caucasian looking, or that's why extraterrestrials represent these different types of form. Human beings are very ancient. They didn't originate even in the Milky Way galaxy. So how are they going to find a missing link going back to monkeys and Cro-Magnon, Neanderthal men, or cavemen and say we came from them? That's just theory. We didn't. They're never going to find a missing link on Earth because it's not on Earth. It's out where the greater source is, prime creator. As long as people think this is the center of the universe, they're going to remain in ignorance, dumber than bricks. And the people that classify things do it because they are living in fear and making decisions based on subconscious drives that are fearful. So they deny the truth to others because they're afraid what will happen to them if they tell the truth. That's the simple truth of it. That's the only reason the classified system exists. Everything else is just excuses. If this planet and its people want to evolve and change, they are going to require the assistance of kind, wonderful human and other races that are willing to provide that assistance because they helped other worlds in the same way when they were on a critical edge of destruction, self-destruction. Now, if they weren't intervening at least to that degree, the poles of this planet would have flipped. We'd all be gone right now. Make no mistake about it. It'd been over already without nuclear war. So there's a lot going on outside of this planet now that has to do with sparing people who, in a way, I don't want to say they don't deserve it, but if people continue to treat life on this world in a sadistic, thoughtless way, animals, sea life, and themselves, then maybe the people from other worlds who want to help now may just stand off and let it go under. Because in the past they have. Long ago. Eventually that kind of decision backfires and bites them in the rear end out in space because everything is connected. They stood back and didn't intervene when Maldek was blown up with a single device. And the billions on that planet came to Earth to incarnate to try to get it right. The same destructive tendency. Beings from all over the universe have been brought here, usually against their will, in a history no one on Earth even recalls, even vaguely. And that goes back to the end of a great war, where a treaty was made with worlds and Earth was made like a Switzerland. Hands off. No one race has been allowed to own this planet, good or bad. They've been allowed to have private, secret research facilities here, hidden from the eyes of the populace and animal life on this planet. They haven't been allowed to intervene in what people do directly, but they have stopped nuclear war. That alone is intervention for their sake. Because what people don't realize on this planet yet is that nuclear war on a planetary scale would be transferred through interdimensional doorways that exist in profuse abundance on this planet, under the ocean, above volcanoes, in the atmosphere, and out in space. And it would be destructive to far more people than just the life on this Earth. And the people out there are not going to let that happen. Earth people, unconscious and misdirected as they are, don't have the right collectively. 7 billion people don't have the right to blow themselves up and harm trillions out there. We do not have that right. And we're not going to be given that right. That's clear to some of the highest classified people, that we aren't going to be given that right because we don't deserve it. We don't know. How do I put this? If we were alone in the universe, we'd all be dead by our own hand right now. There wouldn't have been any 2020 or 21. It's been all over already. Can't make this clear to people. They're going to have to, and I mean every person on this world is eventually going to have to come to accept and understand the co-creative part and why they exist. They're meant to play on this and other worlds and other realities. Who they are that isn't a body, that runs a body. This is common knowledge amongst so many worlds out there. Earth people don't have a clue. They don't remember any of it. They don't even remember how they got here. What they are that isn't a brain or body or what they used to know. It's all been blinked out, so to speak. So what must take place for this blanked out state of amnesia to be lifted from people on this planet? I'm asking you, Perry, as a friend, what do you think would be required to do that? What could happen that would make it possible?
Say again, please. Sorry, I got to think.
Well, what would have to happen for people, 7 billion people, to be able to accept the help from other worlds, more spiritually and technologically advanced? I have to put it bluntly, they are. Most of them, not all, but most are. More advanced than we are, spiritually, psychologically, physically, as humans, in every way. How do we begin to benefit from that? By declaring our ignorance on our egos that we can all do it, we don't need you? Really?
We only need, we need help from other beings from other planets, God. Because, and everything have to start from you yourself first, like you want to change the planet Earth, you want to change the way it is now, to change the way you are.
How do people do that? They don't know how to change. They don't even know that they can. How do you talk to a person on Earth? Hey, do you realize what your shape is? That's you, the running the body, that isn't the brain or the body or the genetics of DNA. Do you know what it is? And they'll look at you with a blank face and go, well, I'm soul. I said, well, what is that? Well, it's a part of God. Okay, well, what does it look like? They can't tell you because they don't remember. Or more importantly, they're afraid to remember that.
Yes, but I share from my experience. I think I am like one of those, who have many questions in life. What is life? I'm not happy with life, and what's going on with my life, and where should I go next after this lifetime? So I start questioning my questions. Have many questions like this, and then I found you, and then I follow every step that you show me, you direct me, you guide me, Scott, and till now I have known a lot. Like you always say, like direct experience, of knowing that's what I am now. But I still have to recall and learn more. That's perfect. It's
Imagine,
great experience.
well, imagine what a person would know if they were a Christian or a Muslim or a Hindu or one of the other religions on earth. If they grew up with that understanding in worlds where they could visit hundreds, even thousands of worlds, what they would know about that they don't know on earth. That's the bigger God. As long as they're confined to this planet, suppressed like this, they'll not know any of it. And it's possible for people to know this. I know, I've done it. I do it. So do many other beings who aren't from Earth. And they have an interest in changing the direction of this planet so that we can take our place among the stars. Because many of the people that are on this earth with no memory about anything are relatives and friends of theirs that disappeared in one scenario or another over the last 500,000 years. It wasn't until fairly recently they could start to detect the energy signatures of these beings who were suppressed and masked and stuffed in bodies on Earth. So they become aware that it's important not only not to let the Earth be destroyed, but to help liberate it. So we can be invited to take our place with so many others. If we are allowed to join a larger organization of world systems in the physical universe, then we would also be provided with the technology, reversing the telomeres on the DNA, which is turning on a switch. Mastering the control of genomes on the DNA is old science, ancient, beyond Earth. Here it's not. They're just finding out about telomeres. Every time a cell divides, it shrinks the telomeres on each end of it. That's aging. If you can stop them from shrinking when they divide, a person would not age. It's just that simple. Getting rid of the pollution that's in the groundwater, in the oceans, in the air, is simple stuff for these folks. They mastered it a long, long time ago. So could they apply it on a planetary scale and set this place free of toxins? Yes, they could. Will they do it the way we are? No, they won't. Because if people were set free the way they are, they would just turn around and destroy this place anyway. They wouldn't know how to respect what was given to them, and they wouldn't know what to do with it. This is important. When people ask for spaceship rides, they have to be responsibly awakened enough to respect what it is that's happening, or it will not take place, no matter what they do or say. And not until it's really for their benefit and the benefit of all life. People that come here don't come here to play games, to give whimsical people spaceship rides because they want everything given to them without their effort to wake up. That won't happen. People want to play among the stars, they have to show they can respect life beyond this earth. And they cannot do that if they refuse to acknowledge or understand how big the God they pray to is. It's very important. So beings from other worlds that are helping people now in ways they never did before, especially when people are out of their bodies every night when they put their body to sleep. They're in a more expanded state and they can be reached in ways they can't be on Earth. And often people will wake up just different. They just know more. They can understand.
Scott, can I say this? Like everyone who watch our shows or whoever, just ask for help from other beings, from other planets, even before at night when they sleep, ask to recall
I
who we
would
are.
say that's not a good idea
Okay.
unless they work through the first sound behind creation to request that assistance. Why? Because the first half of the word human is HU, Hugh man, Hugh woman, Hugh child, Hugh animal, Hugh plant, Hugh tree, Hugh rock. It is a sound, a round hole sound that sounds like the sound that's running through the void of space. There's a sound out there, and it's a white golden light. It isn't black like human eyes see through telescopes or in time-lapse photographies taken by the Hubble telescope. It appears black to people because human eyes can only see a small frequency of light. You have to get above the body and look at it as the being running that body, and then it is what it is. You can see into other frequencies, other realities, other dimensions, other planets. That energy out there that people pray to, they call divine spirit, is everywhere in that void of space. And all these planets and galaxies that spin and float in another kind of energy that supports it. And it's a conscious living energy. It is not nuclear. It's not made of atoms. It's not like the explosions going off in a star or a sun. It is that behind it that does not follow the laws of physics as scientists expect it to. And it won't, because it isn't nuclear or atomic. It's not matter. It is energy, but not as people really comprehend it yet. Beings on many of the worlds comprehend it very well. They're able to work with that to get around these limiting so-called laws of physics, or what they think the speed of light is, which really has no limits at all. None. People have trapped themselves in imagining a limitation on it because physical eyes can say, oh, it's 286,000 miles a second, and we can measure this. They're measuring it with instruments designed to detect molecules in one little parallel dimension of the whole physical universe. There's 144 parallel dimensions of different time rate matter in just the physical universe alone. So how are they going to work with it if they don't know that? Well, they can't. They're never going to master space travel the way they're going about it. And they won't be allowed to travel outside the solar system without direct involvement of extraterrestrials who can take them there, because people on Earth are destructive and negative, subconsciously driven by fears they don't even have, competitive. They don't get along. Governments don't even work together on this planet properly. They think that's the way everything is out there, but it's the most primitive planets work like Earth, fighting each other. All kinds of governments everywhere, not one people. That's the childhood of what we call the Atma. The Atma, when you work with the hue, what's happening is you're vibrating the pineal gland in the center of the brain. Try it. You can feel it.
Yes.
And it's opening a door, which it's designed to do. It's a safe door. It's a protected door. It is beyond anything psychic. It is not limited to the fickle nature of positive and negative movements of waveforms, up and down, back and forth. One time you're right, one time you're wrong. It is the energy behind that supports that. And it isn't inconsistent at all. Constant. Always moving the same way. The being that runs a body, when they begin to work with the first half of the word human, which did not get originated by any person on this earth, It didn't originate in our solar system. It didn't originate in our galaxy. It didn't even originate in the physical universe. It predates the creation of time and space. And so do we. I'm not talking about a brain body of one lifetime that predates that. No. What we really are is spherical shape. What people on Earth call soul is spherical. It isn't like this in the image of some source plan creator. A human being is not in the image of the source. There are many types of human and humanoid bodies that beings that are spherical run on different planets in different dimensions. So if people really want to know what they came into existence like as the source, it's spherical. That's why planets and moons and suns and stars are all round. They're made in the image of their creators. Not one creator. All of us connected together form what is called prime creator, the source. And it isn't like people on Earth think it is.
Scott, I'd like to tell everyone who's watching that since I know you, since I know you, my life has changed a lot. A lot. I am happier and I start to recall who I am. Before I know you, I was very religious. I tried every single way to get out of this trap, but I couldn't find anywhere, anything.
No.
Since then, yeah, I mean, now my life, I thought, like, have changed completely, Scott. Happier, and I could even remember my life before this planet Earth, before I live on in this planet Earth. So,
But that's because you had the courage to work with the techniques and the example I and others set. You put in the effort to awaken yourself, and you get the help from others when you do that. No one's going to wave a magic wand from space and save someone here on Earth. And these are adults who expect to be treated like infants and given pablum and diapers changed, and when they're adults by some supreme power. It requires that we co-create with it. I'll give you an example. When you hew, the being running the body connects the white core center of its being, what people call soul, to that omnipresent living energy out there in space that is not nuclear. Get it? And it's not limited by gravity or the speed of light at all. And then that connects all the way up through the planes to the source from where all people originated before they fell into the illusion and amnesia of not knowing anything. That goes back billions of years. How old are people? They have a clue. Not a clue. They think in terms of the body, growing old and perishing. And they're afraid of death, afraid of getting out of the body, which they all know they have to do anyway one day. So most people just don't want to deal with it. They just live in nature like an animal, living, growing old, and dying. And when they die, they take with them all the fears they still have and uncertainties out of this body. And that helps create their next compulsive reincarnation. Fear, doubt, uncertainty, speculation, debate, anger, greed, lusting after things out of proportion to being in balance as a being, whether it's food or sex or anything else, keeps people grounded to the physical nature of consciousness when they should be aware of what they're doing. Why do beings exist at all? Why are there human bodies from all these races running around on Earth trying to find answers? And some of them aren't even doing that. They don't remember their purpose is to be a co-creator with the source they pray to, not its slave. They've missed all of that. So what beings from other worlds can do, when you want help from master teachers who predominantly do not work on this planet, who have visited here from time to time, that didn't evolve as human beings on this world, then it'd be first of all wise to respect them as fellow beings. You don't have to worship them, put them on a pedestal at all, because they won't tolerate it. They won't even tolerate it. Real teachers won't do that. So we have to get our head out of the sand. And if you go into the hue to get help, there is an inherent protection that goes along with utilizing it. It's part of a new ray of consciousness in that living energy people pray to that was not there before. It helps people help themselves. If they're willing to be responsible and accept back their responsibility in eternity to co-create with their imaginative ability, only that which will be of an uplifting benefit to all life, and not just life on earth, mind you, then that help can be provided, but not in any other way, ever. You set a person free that's ruled by subconscious fear, and they will destroy everything from that fear. People have subconscious minds on earth, but it's not normal or natural. We're not meant to have anything subconscious affecting us that we're not aware of. That is the path of tyrants only. It could be nothing else. So if people want to work with beings who don't work with tyrants and have the inherent ability and awareness to protect themselves and you from them, even the technology, then that would be a wise move. Praying to space beings anywhere randomly would not be good. You need a tool or a technique that will protect you in the process. And the only way people will find out if this works is by doing it themselves. If they're too cowardly or afraid or too religiously fixated to not try to know life for themselves and their relationship with the source behind it, then they're not worthy. Not going to be taken some heaven the way they are and set free to ruin everything the way they are. No. Now, if you take that higher consciousness and move it down through the planes right out in space of more advanced races, they're like that. They're not going to come here and set someone free who is unwilling to help themselves get free because they want it for the right reason. It's very important. So this same thing that I share with people applies to myself. And I have to honor and respect everything I say in the same way. But that's because I respect life from many other worlds and realities people on earth don't even know exist yet. So you might say I understand a bigger source or prime creator, and it embraces me respectfully in this way. It won't do it any other way. So this isn't a religious issue. I don't put down any religions on earth. I just say that religion or faith should lead to experience. So if the hue brought into those religions wakes them up and gets them actively becoming experienced people, this is a good thing. But I might point out this. Despite what you're taught in schools and universities on earth, religions as they're known in this world did not evolve here in its history. They were brought to this planet from other worlds. So were the races that are so different from each other on this planet. It's important for people to get this. If they want to play out there, which is where we're headed, you got to be able to know and respect what's out there, or they're not going to tolerate us playing out there at all. And we don't have the technology or the conscious ability to get around that. And we don't have a right to either. I'm happy about that because it means they've taken enough concern in recent years in the affairs of this planet and its people to recognize that many of them that are here come from there or from their families and disappeared at the end of a great war through tyrant behavior and misuse of technology, stuffed in bodies here, forgotten. Now, what's underway is the reversal of all that. It's not going to be forced on people here. It's going to be brought to their free will attention where they can make better decisions when they're out of their body at night and their fears they normally live with all day long are shut down temporarily. That's how this works. It's better than a spaceship ride. Because to get on a ship with very beings who respect you and you don't even know how to respect them, only fear them, there can be no productive outcome for picking up a person on a ship this way. None whatsoever. I mean, none. People that have been abducted or people that have even been brought on ships on this planet, when they were brought back, they were more enlightened, but they were not free. And they did not die in freedom of consciousness of what they were that was not a body or a brain. And this is very important. If people want to play among the stars, they have to be able to respect and know who they are that isn't a body and respect that in others, or we're in trouble because we're not going to be allowed to play out there. This whole solar system is quarantined with an energy field. The whole solar system. That's pretty advanced stuff. Why? Is it to protect us from bad guys from space? Partially, but that's not the main reason. It's there to protect us from being destructive when we go out among the stars. It's a tough one, but that's the way it is. When full disclosure does take place on this planet, people all over the world will know this. That is designed to take place in a non-destructive way, no matter how fear-driven classified people may be. Many of them are wonderful people. Many of them don't want to keep lying to people like they are. And the momentum is building towards a complete disclosure. And that momentum is being propelled from off-planet. Make no mistake about that. People on Earth are so unconscious from their normal state of awareness where they should be. They would never be able to collectively save this place or themselves in time. No way without outside help. They're just not conscious enough. Can't even get two governments to work together here, two religions, two anything. So I take the time. We do these radio shows, Awaken Hidden Truth. Boy, that is the correct title for it, isn't it? You know, Awaken Hidden Truth, yeah. We can say truth, demonstrate truth, go on these journeys in a radio show or in private sessions that I conduct that are on the internet. People don't even know they exist. And we go to places way beyond the void that some religions on Earth know about. We go to other planets, we go to other realities, higher realms even, because we're capable of doing it. But that isn't stuff that I put out on the internet for the whole public on Earth to see. They just go, they wouldn't understand it at all. Probably want to attack it out of fear or some silly thing. So for sincere people in government and religions and military who are kind people, they deserve the right to know everything. The kindness is the intelligence, the wisdom that must be there in order to reveal the truth without destruction. Most people are kind enough to get that today. Some no, but they can be controlled from being destructive. We know who they are. We know where they are all over the planet, in bases or anywhere else. So it isn't like you're going to bring about disclosure and let people go hog wild and destroy the place, because it's not going to happen like that. That doesn't work. It's never worked on any planet in the history of the cosmos. So ask yourself, if there are planets out there in space that were once on the verge of total destruction, like Earth, with governments that couldn't get along, warring with each other over spoils of stupid little peddly, pity-potty little trinkets of material nonsense? Were there other planets out there fighting over religious differences? Sure. And some were destroyed completely, blown apart. That's not the wisest thing to allow to happen now. We know that. So, were there other worlds that were suddenly went through a disclosure, let's say, a contact that saved them and turned them around? The answer is yes. There are races, hundreds of millions of them, that understand how to do this, go through this process on a planetary scale with unconscious people. Meaning no disrespect. I mean unconscious, because if you ask most people on this planet, what are you that isn't a brain or body? They cannot tell you with any conscious certainty. If they hint that they know, they're in doubt and fear about it too, coupled with what they think they know. That won't work. The negative nature and emotions of negative imagination, powered by negative emotions, blocks the higher faculties, the use of higher faculties of the being. And the brain is deprived of what it could be run like by a being who is free from such things. So there is a way to get rid of the subconscious mind, but it takes the personal co-creative involvement of each person to do it. It's like showing the source that you are willing to be responsible. Stop blaming the devil and Satan and everybody else for all your problems. Accept your responsibility that you come from the source before time and space was made. And you have a responsibility to step up to bat and become a responsible, trustworthy co-creator with it. What is imagination? It is not made up in this brain. People on Earth do not grow up learning in school and universities how to imagine writing stories about being on other planets, parallel dimensions, down the time track, getting out of bodies, ascending. That is not taught to people on Earth. It's not in people's brains growing up. So where does it come from? Not from the brain, because a human brain does not have the ability to imagine anything. It's not the source of the being. That's not its purpose or function. There's nothing in the brain cells with a little motion picture camera that can project on other brain cells and show you the images of what we call daydreaming. Imagination is not made up by the so-called intelligence of a brain in a human body, ever. It is our ability to see through the pineal gland, bringing information back to this life, what we're doing when we're beyond this physical body, looking and exploring the multiverse as beings that are not made of atomic energy, not limited by time, space, causation, gravitational fields, or the so-called speed of light. There are scientists on Earth today that are beginning to understand more about that energy that's out there in the so-called void of space. It's not oxygen, but it's certainly not empty. It is not a void at all. It's packed full of energy, and they know that now. So some of them have started to call this miraculous energy that you suddenly can make anti-gravity work, go through portals to other realities, far across other galaxies, other dimensions even. They begin to understand that we must be able to respect and work with that one energy that everything floats in out there, or we're going to get nowhere real fast. We're not going to go anywhere, because that one energy is what manifests what we imagine in it. When people pray to what they call divine spirit, it's really a co-creator with us, and we're meant to know how to use our imagination, why we create for the good of all life on all levels, on all planets. We're meant to do this. It's our destiny. People living unconscious lives on Earth is not going to change that destiny ever. They're not going to escape it. They're not going to get out of it. They're not going to go to heaven unless they can demonstrate they can co-create for the right kind, loving reasons with that source. Simple as that. I'm telling you the truth. A truth that exists out there in the multiverse that people on Earth have been deprived of knowing for one reason or another. So, what is that? Why do I do it? There's only one answer anybody will ever know with confidence when I share it. When they do it, they're going to feel something vibrating in the center of their brain. And then their life's going to start to gradually shift upward. It's like when you first remember and cross paths with the first sound behind creation, the hue represents, which is not owned or patented or possessed by any organization or person or people on this earth or anywhere. You can't control it, possess it. patent it or anything else. If you do, you're in trouble because it will break through those restrictions. It cannot be held like that. But it is an energy that brings into manifestation what we focus our attention on, good or bad or both. Now, if that's true, and it is, people on earth have this just misdirected, scattered life on this planet with everybody just at each other because they're busy unknowingly imagining good and bad things every day, 24 hours a day. And they take it, when the body goes to sleep, they leave it. And they take that with them and it manifests out there. They come back just as ignorant as they were when they left. Can't blame them. They were not taught any different growing up here. Why should they remember it? Well, the rule is anything people call evil, I'll tell you what evil is, okay? I'm not making this up. I didn't come from my brilliance. It's in the universal energy itself. It's wisdom that moves through it. You can plug into it and know anything, but you can't possess it for power. That's not its nature, okay? And it's not our true nature either. So if you plug into it and you say, what is it like to be on the planet Venus in a third higher parallel dimension where life exists, not on the 800 degrees Fahrenheit one that little satellites went to and landed on? No. More advanced technology can change the molecular time rate that makes up the elements of their craft. They simply blink out of here and appear somewhere else in another frequency. There's life in our solar system that people are just beginning to discover who are very highly classified. U.S. Space Force, what do you think that is? It's not NASA. No. So the universe and understanding the universe is to do it, you have to leap into it. You can't mentalize it. You can't get it on a blackboard. No one's going to teach you that's a PhD on Earth because they don't know it. They weren't taught it. There are classified PhDs working in very highly classified projects on this planet that do, and they're not allowed to tell you. It must distort their lives terribly. They get cancer, their children die, they die, presidents die, and they think it's good to lie to everybody all the time because the rest of the stupid people can't handle it. Well, they're just as stupid as everybody else. They've gotten themselves off into an elitist position of they got the right to know, but we don't. It's nonsense. And they don't know how to get out of it. They've been lying for so long, they're afraid of what the repercussions would be should they have full disclosure. But any one of them that really knows is already working with beings that can help them make this disclosure in a peaceful, non-destructive manner. This is really all that anybody needs to understand now. The old ways of this planet are no longer going to be permitted to continue into the future. So when I go into the hue, I'm connecting to that energy beyond Earth in the atmosphere out there that's not atmosphere. And I'm moving through it through the dimensions to the source, and I see and understand and know it. Because as an Atma, knowing what I am, that's spherical, I have the ability to know this by plugging into the one field that's all-knowing. It's not a tyrant. It never demanded that we worship it, only that we respect it and each other. That's divine love. Most people can't do that. They're afraid to respect life from other planets, much less each other. That old way is not going to be tolerated out there among the stars. I can tell you that. We're never going out there the way we are. So, except, getting up in a space station, taking a rocket ship and landing, collecting toilet paper and taking back the sewage and giving them supplies and going back. Big deal. Can't take a rocket ship to other planets in our solar system. Take forever. And they can't do it in zero gravity because people will die before they get there. It has to be at least artificial gravity, which is still classified. And they have to be able to live in an environment like Earth and exercise and have a normal life getting there and back. But it's so slow. So you can't really do it that way practically. Ultimately, no. We are capable of traveling in physical bodies across galaxies, but not in the way we're doing it, attempting to do it here. And we're going to need the help from beings who know how to do it already and have for, in some cases, hundreds of millions of years. And I'm not joking when I say that. I wonder how long it would take for people to develop rocket ships, going out and spending years getting to Mars and years back, all the mistakes they'll make, and people will die and all that. And some people will go nuts because they just couldn't handle living in a tin can 2 years each way, just drive them out of their minds. And why would you want people to go to other planets who are carrying subconscious fear and negativity, doubt, and other things with them? Do you know what that isolation would do to a person when their imagination is set free to be negative? Not a good thing. So the fields of energy that have to work from the toroidal or 0 point energy in the universe is what they've coined it on Earth. The energy of the universe is not nuclear, number one. It is not. It is energy behind it that gives that momentum to nuclear energy. It's a different energy. And someday on this earth, people will have to know this in order to play among the stars. And they'll have to know it in order to return to the source from whence they came as beings, not brains or bodies they run. Go back in galactic history far enough and you see races that help develop these kind of bodies to a point where the Atma, the spherical being, the real soul, could run higher faculties of awareness through them to perceive the environment that body was made of in that world, take it back into the being, and try to create new ways of doing things to make the whole physical universe run better. In a sense, we are meant to be, I hate to use the word spiritual because people distort that all over Earth all the time in every way. But we're meant to be kind, benevolent scientists of a type, awakened and aware of our purpose as beings with the source behind all life. This is our destiny. If they blew this planet up today, it would still be your destiny. It would not change. But then you go through another life, raise a baby body, go through the whole struggle of not knowing, trying to seek truth. What we want to do is get to a point where we're running these bodies and we can connect into that omnipresent energy, all-knowing, all-seeing kind of thing, and add our part to it, because we're part of it, made of the same energy, to help make the lower dimensions of time and space work like they were meant to at one time. So beings aren't trapped in the ignorance of thinking they're a brain and body in the first place. Okay. When I send out the hue for this purpose for the radio show, and since these, for my part, there's no money involved in charging for this service, sometimes they are long, but what do you think it takes for people to grok is an old term, means to understand. It means to inherently suddenly know what you did not know before. Plugging into the hue, to the one energy that's out there anyway, begins to reverse the process in a safe way that brought us to not knowing or remembering anything on Earth. Begins to reverse that. The only way any one of you or any fellow being on Earth will ever know this is to start to work with it, to trust themselves as eternal beings, not bodies or brains, first. Then trust the source behind all life, not as something you put on a pedestal and worship, but something you respect. And the energy out there that connects to that source is something we must respect, or it will not reveal its secrets to us to play among the stars, or it will prevent us from doing it even if we have the technology. Something won't work. Time for people on Earth to grow up. And they cannot continue to be the way they are and expect to take 50 different countries struggling over the spoils of outer space resources who don't get along. No one's going to tolerate it out in space. And space is already occupied by far more advanced races. People on Earth are going to have to swallow this pill. They're going to have to get used to it. When I put out the hue, it's done to assist you wherever you are. If you sit in a chair or lie in a bed, I don't care where you are. I don't care how classified you are. If you're a president or a king, it doesn't matter. But for your benefit, when you close your eyes, you are shutting off input from the outer world, the world you grew up in, turning off that part of the brain. And the only thing that can work at that point is what we call daydreaming. Daydreaming is not made up in a human brain ever. The ability to imagine being somewhere else while you're sitting in a boring classroom, looking out at the parking lot. Your physical eyes can see the parking lot, but you're being on another planet. You're seeing yourself on a ski trip. You're by the beach. That daydreaming is never created or visualized in the brain of a human being. It does not do that. It's not its function. The real you is doing that, even if unconsciously. Imagination, another way to define what it is, really, is the ability to see into the multiverse, plug into the one energy that supports it, and know things directly. Pretty simple. Hue is the first half of the word human. It does connect something up that begins to guide or return each person back to the source from whence they once came billions of years ago. It begins to wake them up and the bodies are running while the bodies are alive. And if the body should suddenly cease, it continues that process after you leave this life. It begins to work you toward a destination where you are not compelled to reincarnate in another child's body with no memory, with everything blocked. The only way each person will find this out is by doing it for themselves. So they come to understand the truth of what I'm sharing with you. The truth of what I'm sharing with you is not a truth native to planet Earth. Not yet. But planet Earth and its people are destined to embrace it because it is what's beyond Earth. So I'll put out the hue and it will help your body go into the trance state we call sleep. Now think about how complex the process is for you to put your body to sleep at night. You just take it for granted. It's an animal instinct, or the brain just turns things off. This is not true. That's why a person can will themselves to stay up for 7 days or 14 days or start hallucinating. They can stop eating or fast because the being is doing that to the brain and body. The body and brain do not run themselves ever. And that's how much people on Earth have been made to forget. When you imagine something, whether you're aware of it or not, you're really looking at someplace, somewhere else in the grand multidimensional creation. It could be down the past time track on this planet or any other world. It could be in the astral plane where a matter is moved through emotion. Major division up from the 144 parallel dimensions that make up the physical universe. There's a whole nother division and a number of divisions above that. Each being operating outside of the body is capable of understanding this or recovering the awareness of this, but not while they're stuck in the illusion of fear of death, doubt, fear that they're a body, or they think they're the brain, and they think they've got a soul somewhere else they can't put a finger on. They look in a mirror and think that's what they are. In the image of the source, it is not. Think of what you look like as an energy that is not nuclear, but is shaped in a round way like a moon, a planet, or a sun, or a star. The shape of a galaxy is made up of round objects mostly. There is nebula and some debris out there, sure. Dark matter, they call it. They know it's not really dark. You just can't see it with human eyes. The great vast area of energy that's between all those stars and between galaxies and between dimensions is the hue. And there was one original sound that was set up as a fail-safe, and when it crosses your path, you have the opportunity to recover it all. The process brings an awakening into each being to where they recall they are responsible with that source for creating the mess you call planet Earth. Can't blame it on another being. And the whole purpose of knowing that is that if you don't like the way something is, bitching about it will not change it at all. It will add to the problem. So if we want to change it, then we have to accept our responsibility, number one, and then co-create with vast, uncountable numbers of beings beyond Earth who are in the process of changing it for the first time. Think about how proficient you are to put that body to sleep, a complex process whereby you cause, unconsciously for most people, the pineal gland, the center of the brain, to secrete serotonin, makes melatonin, puts the body on automatic, breathing, heart working, blood circulating while you're gone every night. If you're raised on a planet that doesn't teach you anything about this, or to get accustomed to it or comfortable with it, why would you be able to bring back what you're doing when you wake that body up in the morning? People have higher faculties. They're just dormant. They're not using them. They don't know about them. They don't remember. So I put out this U in successively higher tones to address consciousness in each major division or dimension, including Earth, including the body you're running here, but life you're living in other realities as a single spherical being running more than just the Earth body. The only way you're going to know this is through your own direct awakening experience. I'll begin those tones as a way to assist you. Think about it. You make the body go to sleep and run on automatic so you can leave it every night. Bodies don't run themselves. If you don't go out and bring energy back, that body will cease to exist. I'll begin those tones now, and then we'll go a journey. And the first place we're going to end up is in the void of space, at a distance from Earth and the moon and the sun, looking at them. We want to get outside of the negatively compacted atmosphere of the planet Earth. Everything that's ever been done to each other by animals or people to each other in the history of Earth is recorded in waveforms or frequencies that bounce off the ionosphere and end up going around the curvature of the Earth just like a radio wave when they are still here. So we want to get out into an energy that does not and cannot be impressed with or recorded any of that negative stuff. We get out in the primordial energy, the hue, divine spirit, whatever you want to call it. It is not a negative or a positive being or a single being at all. It is the living force, conscious energy that supports all that exists, including us, and we collectively support each other as well. I'll begin those tones now. You. Wherever you are on planet Earth or other worlds, because others are listening to this, it is recorded on Earth, but it's also recorded elsewhere. Be aware of this to your benefit if you are. What happens in this process is that your body is put to sleep just like you put it there every night anyway. There is a difference. My voice and what I'm doing is telepathic. It's not a big deal. It's not part of the lower planes of time and space. So it's not what we call psychic faculties, which ride upon a current, positive and negative, and swing between the two constantly. It is an energy that is behind all that, supporting all that exists. And it assists your body to go into the trance state while you begin to remember your telepathic nature as a being. Telepathy in its pure form is meant to connect with the one source behind all life, the Hue, what I call the hue expansion ray, because there's a new ray of consciousness running through it that did not run through it previously. And it is designed to assist beings to begin to recover all they were made to forget. All the way back to before they left to go into the lower worlds of time and space and play with running bodies. This is never futuristic. It's always taken place in the present moment. You are not a brain and body. When it goes to sleep at night, you leave. Every single being does. Not just people, animals, and sea life too. Something not a physical form is running those bodies. People in other worlds are aware of this. People on Earth need to remember this in order to change the way they are. Experience is a great motivator for constructive, uplifting change. Without it, people do not change. Imagine being near the ceiling. You're a spherical being of light, lighting up the room. You could say you're a couple feet across. There's a white core like a sun in the center, and then surrounding it at a distance are concentric circles of teardrop-shaped higher faculties in all the colors of the spectrum of light, from white to yellow to orange to red to green to blue to violet to lavender to a golden energy field, a white golden energy light surrounding it. Each of those levels contains faculties of knowing how to circumnavigate the multidimensional creation. Each single person has this already built in. On Earth, it's long been closed down from access consciously by people. Certain genomes on the DNA that make up your DNA on Earth were tampered with long ago in galactic history, and what are passed on genetically is the DNA with certain genomes turned off. Science on Earth is evolving. They begin to understand that the billion or so genomes, some of which they used to call junk DNA, aren't junk at all. They're just switched off. And they're struggling to find a way to turn them on. So if telomeres on the end of each DNA strand shrink every time they duplicate, which they do for people on Earth, then you age. For people who have mastered the genetics of human bodies, they know how to regulate whether those telomeres shrink or not. They turn them on so they don't age. Simply that easy. So when you try to run higher faculties on a planet like Earth growing up with no training in this whatsoever, and you run into certain genomes being turned off, the higher faculties don't function to your physical body to enlighten it very well, now do they? So what is our purpose for being on Earth? What is the purpose for running a physical body at all? There is a purpose to it. That's been closed down in people on Earth for one reason or another, going back 500,000 years in galactic history. It can all be reversed under the right conditions with the assistance of the right beings. Otherwise, people cannot change. When you're near the ceiling, hovering there, you can look right through the walls and see the city or the countryside around where you live. You can see your body sitting there, with eyes closed, hopefully, lying down. You look kindly upon it, knowing that it is something you're running from a distance. This is easy. It's simply daydreaming. You do it all the time. But this is daydreaming in a conscious, awakened manner. It is telepathic. It is being to being. Telepathy cannot invade someone else's mind and read their thoughts and embarrass them, etc. It is a pure form of energy, the energy of the universe, toroidal or 0 point. It is between and supporting all things, and we communicate through it from the white core of our spherical being that is pure in a way that does not involve any negative emotions or imagination. Those are artificial constructs implanted in an artificially created subconscious mind, manipulated. As the Atma from the source, we have the ability to dominate such things, but not if you don't believe it. If you're busy creating negative imagination of the present and the future, you will not be aware of this or how to change it. So the first thing is stop imagining negative things. Discipline yourself. We all have to do this if we care to recover and take our place amongst the stars and the multidimensional creation as beings. Be in the atmosphere at 10,000 feet. You could be day or night, it wouldn't matter. To the Atma, you, the real you, spherical, you're lighting up everything around you. You are not matter. You're not energy or light from the sun. You carry your own light. And standing beside you is a body that looks exactly like you. About 36, young adult, perfectly formed, flawless in every way, strong, healthy, viral, man or woman, girl or boy. And this is an energy form you're projecting so that others around you can see and identify who you are beyond just being a sphere of light. It is not a physical form, but it looks just like your physical form. Perfect. And you'll see me standing there with a form that looks to be about 36. And you look behind that form, you'll see a sphere of light hovering above it. That's who I really am. And in the distance, you can see a friend of mine. He is an ambassador from the Se-Rays human race. It's an extraterrestrial race, much taller than people on Earth. He happens to be 18 feet tall. Some of them are 25 feet tall. They were. We get our genomes for the DNA of the forms we're running as Atmas from them originally. Long ago in galactic history, they did not originate in the Milky Way or Andromeda galaxies. They came here from elsewhere. They're advanced scientists. They seeded human, humanoid, and other bipedal species and races to travel the stars long ago in galactic history in both the physical dimensions and the astral reality, and then vanished. They've recently returned to do their part to help recover people that have long forgotten who and what they are, why they exist. I can't put it any more simply than this. And he's standing in the center. And if you notice, we're in a circle as beings on this journey, including Perry, around Terrellian, who's serving as a central focal point to keep our awareness focused on gaining something constructive from this journey. Out in space here, you can look in the distance and you can see planet Earth with its polar ice caps, oceans and land masses. You don't see any cities or lights or anything from here. And you see the barren moon with its meteor craters covering it. Virtually no atmosphere, very little gravity, turning around, moving around in orbit around the planet, showing the same face to everyone on Earth all the time because it does not turn on its axis as it should. And in the distance, you can see the yellow medium-sized star or sun we call Sol. We are hovering in an energy field. And out here, it does not appear black like you see in a Hubble telescope of outer space. It appears like a white golden light to the real you. And it just literally is packed everywhere, above, below, around you, and the Earth and the moon and the sun and the galaxies floating in it. They create gravitational whirlpools, and this energy is able to, let's just say they're floating in another energy, buoyant, but moving. This energy out here is a conscious living energy force. It is not an individual being like a soul or what more advanced races call Atma. An atom or individual from the source itself. Terrellian is showing you his 36-year-old body as he once had it over 1 billion years ago before their race immortalized them in a very unique way. They evolved to the point in their 12-stranded DNA, they simply dematerialized their bodies and stored the pattern in one of the teardrops in one of the layers of the being. If you look above Terrellian, you'll see an Atma floating there like us, a little brighter than us, a little bit larger. And so he's manifested a form for you to see here of what their body form looked like when they had physical bodies. Terrellian does not need to carry around a physical body like we do on Earth. When he needs one to carry out a mission, he'll manifest one, drawing energy from the toroidal zero-point energy around him, the one energy behind creation, and fill the atoms, materialize it instantly, carry out a mission, and then dematerialize and store it. This is what we're really doing, except we've forgotten. So we have to carry around the burden of a body throughout an entire lifetime. This is not our destiny. It is just the way things are on Earth for now. And it is not Earth's ultimate destiny to stay this way either. You can see that there are men and women from different planets, human and humanoid, some with violet eyes, ivory-colored skin, silver hair, some with green eyes and jet black hair with pale blue skin, human-looking bipedal, and different simple, single, form-fitting gowns or dresses, men and women, long hair, short hair, some with snake-like skin and snake-like eyes, but kindly emanating, and other human and humanoid races, many of them human. And they are presenting to you what they look like as a 36-year-old perfectly healthy body. You'll notice there's a man and woman standing beside you, very kind, about 36. They are from the Galactic Alliance. Some of them are master teachers, meaning that they travel between dimensions to teach as well as in ships. And they have left their bodies in the trance state called sleep on scout craft that are stationed in our solar system 24/7 now. 3 other couples man the ship while these 2 sit back in the back and leave their bodies as Atmas, knowing it, to join us here in space above Earth, just like we're doing. This is to show you that they not only know how to travel across the stars, but they know how to leave their bodies, and they learn this from birth. They remain aware of what and who they are before that body is born. Bodies are raised to an adult level very quickly for practical purposes. And so the beings begin to run them as mature adults quite swiftly. Not like on Earth. The 2 beings you see, whoever they may appear, however they may appear to you, will offer you the opportunity to ask for their assistance. They will tell you it's okay to request it. And every time you put that body to sleep and you go out, instead of remaining unaware, they will assist you over time safely to recover your ability to bring back to that body and brain on Earth what you're doing. This is what enlightenment is. But it's up to you. They will never force their will on you or invade the privacy of your thoughts. They are telepathic, and so are you. Telepathy in this way cannot be abused by any being or technology. In fact, it is a protection from the misuse of such things. It's its inherent nature. Shantial, Tonaltial, Dantiam, and Lamtiam. Dantiam, Lamtiam, Dantiam, Lamtiam. These are extraterrestrial names from the Pleiades area of our galaxy, not from the Pleiades, but from star systems further behind there. They are human. They are part of the Galactic Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds. The governing headquarter planet is near, not in the center of, but near the galactic core of the Milky Way galaxy we live in. More than 450 advanced spacefaring races are part of this organ. 450 million expanse-faring races. Expanse, it's even hard to talk. Advanced spacefaring races make up this organization. 5,000 member or council members represent them. Zetanami is a planet, the name of a planet near the central core of this galaxy. I might as well make you aware of it because you're going to become aware of it anyway, soon enough. These beings, human like yourself, are well trained and advanced in being able to help you let go and be free of negative subconscious drives. Negative things and emotional negativity encourage people to imagine negative outcomes for the present and future of Earth and their own lives, even while they're imagining a wonderful life for themselves and their families. Those imaginations, unconsciously used, will go into this energy where we're floating in space and tell it what to co-create in your life, and it will do that. We are not the power as individuals that manifest what we imagine. It is. It will always be the one power that brings things into manifestation that we imagine. We do not have the power as individuals to do this. Being humble in this way and realizing this encourages people to only imagine that which is of uplifting benefit to all life, and particularly to know about the life that exists in the grand multidimensional creation and respect it. Do that or you're never getting off the earth. The sound in the physical universe that rumbles under your feet, standing in space in this so-called void of space around Terrellian, with friends from other worlds. Master teachers that teach them are here, and I will describe them for you to be aware of them in a moment. This is easy stuff for them. It can be effortless stuff for you when the thought of it being so difficult and so dangerous to leave your body is let go of. Other higher faculties begin to turn on. You cannot be harmed or captured by demons or negative things when you're working with the you. It's quite impossible. The energy that moves through you from this source energy has command over such things, and they do not come near what we're doing. This is a fact. I'm not making it up. So become aware of it yourself, if you choose to. Terrellian is a trusted ally, a friend of mine. The beings like Shantiel and Tonaltiel and Dantiam and Lamtiam are friends. I have friends and planets that live in planets in the solar system in a higher parallel dimension. I have friends from other worlds, hundreds of thousands of millions, billions of light years away, and friends in other dimensions beyond the physical universe. So we're going to take a little journey from here. You can hear the sound of roaring thunder, but it's not frightening. It's consistent, but it rumbles under your feet. It's the sound of the physical universe, the sound the hue makes on this level of vibration. If we were to go up a number of levels to a higher molecular time rate planes in the astral plane, where emotion moves matter around instead of effort like in the physical planet Earth, the sound would be more like the gentle crashing of an ocean on a shore under your feet, and so forth. The Atma you are capable of tuning into sounds from any planet, place, or location, and instantly moving there through the one energy that is not nuclear, limited by the speed of light, time and space, or gravity. So that in that one energy you're plugged into, it can reveal to you the wisdom and understanding of what these places are and how to understand them. You cannot get this kind of experience disrespecting the one energy behind the universe or other races. That's quite impossible. The two do not mix at all. What that connects to is a place beyond the void that certain esoteric groups know about on Earth. That's right, on the other side of it, because there are higher realities beyond that void, whether people are taught this against this or not. If you cannot imagine or remember what's beyond it, you cannot go there. We are in a circle around Terrellian, hovering in the so-called void of space. We do not feel heat. We do not feel cold. We do not experience any harm from radiation from the sun. We are made of an energy behind the sun and its nuclear explosions, before it, beyond it. You can see this black void of space is actually a white golden light, and yet you can see the billions of stars gleaming in it, above, behind, below, and all around us. They are too floating in this one energy field. That energy field continues beyond the Milky Way galaxy into the vast void of space until it reaches Andromeda and then other galaxies. And then it moves ever upward, constantly in motion, to the astral, causal, mental, etheric, and then the void itself, and then past it, into the realm of a being who kind of runs this play, means true name, true sound, Satnam. First manifestation in any form you might recognize as God, but he will not tolerate you worshiping him. Respect is one thing, yes, and each other. Worship, no. Not if you want to know anything. When I did that last series of hues up in Tone, I connected to a fountain in a garden by palatial crystal estates against a long snow-covered mountain range in a botanical paradise that sits next to a shore that is a white luminous beach, left and right as far as you can see. And before it, this kind of pale blue luminous void. Doesn't appear to anything be in it except this pale blue light. And we find ourselves hovering around Terrellian in the same position we're in outside of the atmosphere of Earth. But we are, in fact, on the other side of the void, about to cross over into the realm of the Atma plane, the first plane of the higher realities. The sound coming from that, drawing you like a bee to honey, sounds like the high, single, melodic, wondrously, hauntingly beautiful note of a flute. And you begin to remember that you once knew this sound. And we move as a group of beings, the spherical us, the physical forms that are perfect, hovering just above the white sandy shore. You can tell that it's glowing. The sand is actually glowing. And you look down and you find your physical body, this form that's perfect, wiggling its toes in the sand. You reach down with your hand and you pick up a handful of the sand. And you can see that it's made of little round polished diamonds that are glittering like a faceted diamond, but these aren't faceted. They're radiating a certain kind of light. And this light, which is a golden white light, has to do with recall and remembering something you've been made to forget for a very ancient, long period of time. And you look up smiling and you can see the sphere you really are, the solar Atma, And then you suddenly are the Atma looking down on this body form, smiling up at you, and you realize they are one and the same. You. What you are in the image of the source is the round thing, not the human form. And now we're moving over the top of these crystalline jungle trees. They're just glowing. And we're met by these phenomenal birds that come up out of the trees. They're about a foot long. They look like a blue jay with twin long V-shaped split tails, but their bodies are rainbow colored, thousands of colors through the rainbow, to these big blue eyes, and two sets of bird wings fluttering above them like a hummingbird. And they begin to sing the hue on multiple levels with men and women's voices, perfect vocal cords, hauntingly beautiful. They're greeting us to this realm of the Atma. And then they talk to each one of you, a couple, male and female, hover up beside you and introduce themselves. And you realize that these forms are speaking with vocal cords. And then you hear them right in the consciousness of the spherical being you are telepathically. And you look up and see there's a spherical Atma hovering above each bird. That's who they really are. And then the birds fly off back in the trees. And we move over the top of this jungle to a clearing. And in the clearing down below us, about 30 feet, is a circular marble white floor. Coming out of the center, maybe 100 feet across, is a fountain made of white alabaster-like stone with scalloped edges, coming off a round pedestal. And then around it, white marble seats with scrolled legs around it. And in the fountain itself, maybe 15 feet across, is the statue of a man standing on a block in the center of this liquid, glowing golden white light. Bronze of skin, about 36 like us, with gold eyes. Looks like he's from the country of India, but he's not from India. 2 gold bracelets on his upper arms, a little white tunic dress from his waist down to just above his bare ankles, with his 2 hands down at his side, facing forward, and this white golden light's pouring through the head of this statue, through his hands, filling this bowl with an even, luminous white golden light that pours over the scalloped edges and vanishes in the ground below. You look to your right and you see a man standing about 10 feet away with his right hand up. It is the actual being, Satnam, true name, first word. This is a manifestation he chooses to show you. But if you look above him, you'll see a very bright, larger spherical Atma like us running it. The matter that makes up this plane is not nuclear. It is called pure positive. The void is a barrier between the upper realities that existed before the worlds of time and space on below the void were created. And he's simply asking you telepathically to remember. You once knew this place well. What happened? Why did you forget? He's reminding you all that you have a responsibility to be a co-creator with him and many planes of dimensions above here with the source behind all life, or prime creator. That is not an individual guy on a throne. It looks like an Atma, but much larger. And it is a nexus where all beings, all souls, all atoms connect to one source. You can speak with that source. It can talk with you, but it's not an individual like we are. You come to an understanding of how to respect this source when you continue to go out into the universe and embrace the larger, shall we put it in lack of a better word, God. The one living energy behind and supporting all life. We are made of exactly the same energy that's coming down in the head of that statue, a statue of this being. And it's glowing in the white core of our spherical being, hovering above this body that looks to be about 36 and perfectly flawless. We're still standing 4 feet off the ground around this mountain. We're not even touching the ground. And Satnam points to this palatial crystalline-like buildings along the base of this long snow-capped mountain. And you begin to remember you have visited this place before, long ago. And he points upward, and we suddenly find ourselves moving up at tremendous speed in a circle around Turelian, and several master teachers, which I'll describe in a moment, until we begin to pass through a conduit of tiny blue stars, an opening between this realm and a very specially created realm between the fifth and sixth dimensions above the void. And we move up through it effortlessly until we are hovering above in a cobalt blue, brilliant light atmosphere, looking down on 6 snow-covered mountain peaks in a circle. And then this Satnam realm just below here vanishes. And we realize as we look out into the horizon that we are hovering above a huge floating landmass, circular. There is this huge blue atmosphere all around us. No planets, no moons, no suns, no stars, no galaxies. Just this circular landmass floating in this energy. And out in the distance, you see this white, luminous beach like Satnam's realm, circling the outer circumference of this landmass. And off to the west of one of these mountains on a lower plateau is a white marble floor, out of which is rising, what is called the Hugh Expansion Ray Academy Administration Tower. This place is called the Hugh Expansion Ray. Expansion Ray meaning the awareness that's experimented with here, above the void, above all negative nature, to create new ways of doing things collectively, to change the way the lower dimensions of time and space are run, not destroy them. How the beings or Purushas that run them are going through a change right now for the first time. We come to this place to co-create or contribute our part to help make this happen. When you look to this blue glass administration tower, because it looks like blue glass, it's transparent, smooth, it comes out of this marble-like floor. It's a flattened spherical area and goes up to a minaret point, and this white shaft of golden light is coming down the top of it. You can look in through the sides of this flattened area, and you see there is a fountain in the center of it on a white floor, size of a football stadium. But there's no statue here, just a shaft of white golden light filling the fountain, pouring over the edge in a luminous white golden sheet, and vanishing down the shaft of this tower. There are 3 concentric circles of marble seats, thousands of beings, several thousand, men and women, beautiful forms, beautifully dressed, from different realities in the lower dimensions, different worlds. These are master teachers who teach in this place. They come here, they have bodies in the lower planes. They come here as the Atma like we have. And they offer to teach you wondrous new things about creation and how to contribute creatively to it and with them here. You can see an Atma hovering above their body forms. To make a connection back to Earth, I learned how to run the body while I'm here with you. Speak. And it's a process I had to go through for many decades. So I have to regulate my vocal cords to make it through these sessions. And I'm doing that from the Atma plane near Turelian. There is a master teacher here named Opelum, about 6 feet tall, shiny jet black hair, emerald green eyes, pale blue skin, beautifully dressed single gown. He has his right hand up in greeting, and it's glowing with a blue light. It's glowing with the light of the atmosphere that's outside this view administration tower, but it's a little brighter. Tyrellian's in the center with his right hand up and both hands with the same blue light. And then there's a being called Ramu holding a crystal quartz staff. That's his symbol. Nothing here is made of matter. It is energy, though, manifested and maintained in form so we can get things done. It's about 6 feet tall. He's holding it in his right hand. And it's round. And it goes up to what Egyptian history was called an ankh, with a cross, with a vertical oval hole in the center of a vertical on top of the cross, and it's glowing with a golden light. And around it is this same blue light. And this is the blue light of the atmosphere that's outside the administration tower. If you look at it closely, you can see there's a white golden light behind it, supporting it. Just like it does in the physical universe where planet Earth is, on a different level of vibration. These are master teachers that teach in facilities located on the Hugh Expansionary Academy. When you look outside this dome, find yourself suddenly hovering above it around Tyrellian, high above the 6 mountain peaks. And you can see there are white marble roadways extending to the west. And like the spokes of a bicycle tiber, from the bottom of the white marble floor at the base of the Hugh Expansionary blue glass tower, they extend in every direction. And if you look down one, you'll see there's a right turn into a clearing, then later a left turn, then a right turn, all the way out to the beach. And in those botanical paradises, there are pyramid structures and round structures on tripod legs and square structures with lens-like devices in them. And these are training facilities. If you cannot imagine, meaning look into the universe and see such things, you can never go to them. It is the one energy you imagine in by recall and remembering, recovering and awakening, the ability to be here and on Earth at the same time. Right now, you're here. Your body on Earth is asleep. You might hear a truck go by. Your ears might tell you there's this dangerous sound, or you think might be dangerous when it isn't. And you may hear that. That's okay. But the body's really asleep. No one's home. It's being run on automatic. And you can see there's a little beam of white golden light emanating from the white core of your being, down through the planes, past Satnam's realm, through the void, down through the physical universe where we're hovering still above planet Earth, and down into the white core of your being, hovering to the ceiling, the top of the pineal gland in the center of your brain, and then out, making a sphere of energy, widening around you, goes through the walls of your house where you live, wherever you are, and continues until it's about 2 miles across. This energy is not psychic, or I don't mean to put that down, it's just not part of the positive and negative string that moves like a wave up and down. Positive, negative, positive, negative. We're working with the energy behind that does not move like this. It has one function now, and that is to encourage beings to recover what they knew and return home, to become co-creators with that source energy. That's many planes above where we are now. You could picture that source energy as a huge galaxy-like ocean of light and sound, comprised of spherical beings with a central core and an even brighter blue atmosphere surrounding this one galactic image. And that is the place where we all originate. So we are comprised of energy that makes up the source or prime creator. We always have been and always will be. And then you are looking down, wiggling your toes into the sand out in the western roadway. You can see a kind of a blue ocean, a little bit darker energy than the atmosphere, but it's the same energy. It's not really water. And it's crashing against the shore, and you look down at your feet wiggling in this luminous white sand. Now, this is a higher, brighter light than the sand along Satnam's beach. And it's circular around the circumference of this land. Down below, it extends straight as an arrow as far as you can see out of visual range. But here you pick up these little things, and they are like diamonds, but they're glowing with a golden white light, much more beautiful than a diamond. And the energy moves through your palm of your hand up your top of your head. You look up smiling, goes into the white core of your being, brightens it. Turellian is still with us, standing out in the ocean up to his knees in energy that looks like water that isn't. And it is a type of energy that's about recalling what you knew that's above the void. He's asking you to take yourself out into the water, the spherical you, and plunge down into this water. Go with him several miles off into it until you look at the U Expansion Ray Academy floating landmass disappear, the whole landmass in the distance till it vanishes. Now you are in the thick of it. You're in the middle of eternity, so to speak, in the realm of the original embarkation or demarcation point for the Atma into the lower worlds. And you look down and you see that we are still hovering around Turellian with several thousand master teachers hovering around us in a sphere. The physical forms in front of each one of us, just like us. And you can see the ice caps of Earth, the oceans, the land masses, the barren moon. And now it's changing. As we're returning, you can see that there is the same Earth in the same place, but it's raised in vibration. And now you see a huge continent centered over the equator from the left to the right hemisphere. You can see through the planet and see another continent, 2/3 its size, centered over the equator. And the moon with a full oxygen atmosphere, turning gently on its axis, dome cities, little land masses, little oceans and lakes and waterfalls. And it's moving around the planet Earth, and off in the distance, the yellow sun. Now, this is a planet Earth in the third higher parallel dimension of the physical universe. Third molecular time rate up from the Earth you're used to. Such things exist. The beings that work down on that continent are from the Galactic Alliance, the Sayres race, master teachers that teach in the Hue Expansion Ray Academy, and beings who are collectively working on, one day they will use this world and its live moon and superimpose it down over the world and moon that is dead right now to change the way the Earth and the moon are. This will take place when the Earth populace is ready to appreciate it. And you find yourself at 10,000 feet in the atmosphere where you live. And there is a man and a woman in front of you, off to each side, smiling with their right hand up. And they are saying goodbye to you for now. They have been with you. All they've done is help to keep any negative nature subconsciously turned off while you're on this journey. And they have been turned off with the sleeping body back on Earth. And then they vanish. You look down with eager enthusiasm and find yourself hovering as a spherical being above that body. You see a white golden light emanate from you. You can see it coming from the U Expansion Ray Tower, like a beam of light from the shaft of light into the fountain. It goes into the pineal gland through you, widens through the brain, turning certain brain things on. Instead of using 6 to 10% people were told we use on Earth, it starts to increase so that you can use 100% of a 100% developed brain, which only makes sense. You are bringing the memory of this journey down to a brain and body consciousness that does not have any of it. And then it moves, as it always does, through you for your benefit, and then it goes out into an increasing field of energy until it's 2 miles wide. And then it continues into 3 pyramids stationed on Earth now that people don't yet know about, except very highly classified people. 2 are stationed on the deepest oceans on Earth, and 1 is inside a hollowed-out interior of a mountain in the Himalayas. It goes through them in fountains that are stationed inside each one, which are manned by what we call silent mentors. They are beings who run the mechanics and support the creation in its place that you see. And it goes out into a pyramid, a big one, stationed between two stationary asteroids in the asteroid field between Mars and Jupiter in our solar system. And then it's beamed out into space to larger ones that are stationed between stars now. And then it's beamed upward. Smile kindly down on that form. And as you wake it up, be kind. Then open your eyes.
Thank you, Scott. Time flies, no?
Yeah, I don't even know how long we were going, but it was a pretty long journey, including the talking part of it, to get people ready.
Yeah, but I don't feel like it's long actually. I just realized the time.
We started at 6 and it's now almost 9. That's
Yeah.
3 hours.
Yeah.
No. So I would recommend that anybody who has taken the time to go on this journey, no matter what they think about it, put aside a couple of hours in some day that's comfortable soon, where they won't be disturbed by phones or anything else. Then play back this recording, which they can find at your Awaken Hidden Truth YouTube channel, because you'll put it up there probably by tomorrow anyway, or today sometime, I don't know. And then play it again. And hopefully there's no commercials on any of those so they can play it uninterrupted, maybe in the front of them, but not through them. Right?
No advertisement.
Yeah, because that would defeat the purpose. Okay, I want to wish all the people.
And
yeah.
Scott, you want to mention about your YouTube?
YouTube.
To let people know, yeah.
I do. If they want to find all these very special videos that have been created, 31 of them. There's actually more, including the presentation I did in Finland some years ago. They will find most enlightening. They have orchestrated music and a woman narrating, or a man, or no narration, just music. They can explore all those by going to my YouTube channel. You go to YouTube and you type in Scott Lemriel, Lemriel, hyphen, parallel, one word, time. You'll see this string of videos show up. And I'm going to show everyone right now what it looks like. Okay, because sharing and showing means 1,000 things to people. So I will go to YouTube. And then right up here, I'm going to type in just like that. And you're going to see my channel come up. You click on the circle of me near the planet Earth with a ship moving around it. You can watch videos here, of course. There's a number of them. Or you can click on this image and you can see them strung out this way. But when you click on videos, you can see them like this. And there's a lot of them. They're free. Play each one. You can play. That was the old cover for the book. I'm going to remove that one from my site because it's now different and it's been published again. This book, The Savor's Agenda, has a technique section in the back. That one I think that one did, but I'm not sure. So this is what it looks like. I will show people. But you can play this Finland conference.
This one is one of the most interesting one because I found you when I watched this video from the very beginning, Scott.
You're going to find this very interesting. I did a presentation to scientists, filmmakers, quantum physicists, and people like this, something they'd never heard before, and then demonstrated and have them participate in how to acquire actually knowing the multiverse, recovering. So that'll be good, but you can watch these videos, any one of them, and they're self-explanatory. So I will now stop sharing as soon as I find out where I am here. Okay. That's not what I want to do. Okay, we're back. Okay, so
And can also click to the link under this video to check to
that
go
is
to your
what,
website.
wait a minute, that is what the book looks like now. That is a mile-long cylindrical ship with an anti-gravitic light around it, scout ships about 30 feet across. This is permanently stationed in the ice rings of Saturn in our solar system. You'll find out about it. Techniques for the prologue and all 29 chapters, working with you to assist people to recover. There's another book, which I also have out, first one of the Parallel Time trilogy. This man is a master teacher. He's one that was on this journey tonight, standing on an anti-gravitic disc, holding this Ankh-type crystal staff. There's Calum. He's a pilot of this ship. This is a romantic interest at the time. This is blue-skinned human woman from another world, all on these discs. And this land here is just formed after the last polar flip on this planet. Everybody's killed. But these beings are not dead. So this master teacher, Romu, and this little creature from another world, her world, is a Dren. He was about 3 feet long with a tail that glows like bright crystal opal in sunlight. And this silica-based creature evolved on her world to defy gravity and fly through the air as an organic creature. He's also a little master teacher. He's not even human. He is introducing to this being that's come down from the fifth dimension above the void. This has come from much higher, from source. And so he's introducing this ancient one, this source being, to these beings. He knows what it is, but they don't realize at this point that there is one of these hovering above their heads. He's there to teach them about that, to awaken this in them. So they get introduced to the source, prime creator. You're going to find that on the front. And then there's 30 illustrations in here of scenes and characters that would be very helpful for people to explore a much more ancient history of our solar system and how extraterrestrials were involved in it. Human. The Savior's agenda is more about what's taking place that's changing unexpectedly out in the universe right now, and Earth is in the path of that change. That's about it. So if you get inspired to do it, go look at this stuff, go play with it, have fun, awaken, recall, recover. That's why we do this. Thanks for having the courage to do this show, Perry.
Thank you, Scott, and thank you everyone for watching. Please thumb up, subscribe if you think it will benefit others. So we see you again next time, Mr. Lemrel.
I guess so. I mean, somebody's got to do it, right?
Yes.
All right, then I will say good night and pleasant dreams and pleasant journeys to everyone.
Bye.
Bye.